Hello, Internet! I'm Ellie the Purple Doofus, and welcome to Buddy Reads, where I usually read a small selection of a book and review it for you. But today, I'm going to do a spoiler-free review of the book that I just covered, which was Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. Now, normally I would say I hope you read up to that point, but since this is spoiler-free review, you don't have to. This is, however, a sequel. It's a sequel to Name of the Wind. We'll start by giving you an overall review of what happens. There's Kvothe, the Chronicler, and Bast, and they're all sitting around the table at the inn, and he is telling more tales of his youth before he became the King Killer. Okay? The book is mostly his tales of going through the university again, and then he does a little side quest to another kingdom and has some other adventures there, and then he comes back to the university. It's pretty much split right down the middle, too. About halfway into the book, he goes off to the other kingdom. I want to end on a high note, so we'll start with the bad. I didn't really like Kvothe in this book. In the other book, I was starting to grate on Kvothe. And it's mostly because after a certain part during the first book, it's just Kvothe bragging about him being awesome. And this book is just all bragging about him being awesome. There were some points where I was just like, that is complete bunk. There is no possible way that that happened that way. You have to believe it because the majority of these books are told to you by Kvothe. The other thing I didn't really like about this book in particular was the women. Aside from a few standout women, a lot of them are written the same, and it was hard for me to differentiate. The only thing that I can find differences between any of the women were the names. And the names, oh god, the names are just so hard to pronounce. Well, not so hard to pronounce, but hard to know how to pronounce when you're only reading it and not listening it on audio. Is it Kvothe? Is it Quote? Is it, Kvote? Is it Kvoth? I don't know! I suppose I should have started out by telling you that I am not the biggest fan of high fantasy. These books are pretty much high fantasy. Oh. There were some good points to this book. Some wonderful points. There are some especially funny parts in this book that I really, really loved, and I don't want to talk about them because I don't want to spoil them for you. There is the second half of the book, when he goes off on an adventure in the woods, that's all I'll say is great. I love that bit. There's a small bit in the woods where I fell asleep during it, but other than that, all of the woods bits was a definite departure from the university. I could see where people didn't like that part, but I loved it. And he did tend to talk about different factions in this world. Different, I want to say religions, but it wasn't really a religion. Different ways of thoughts among the people in this world. That I enjoyed that too. And the guys were pretty funny, but Oh, that's another thing I should say. This is a sequel to The Name of the Wind, so it being a sequel, of course it's not going to be great. We all know the track records for sequels, right? We all know that the sequel is never going to live up to the original. The way that everyone was like, when's the third book coming out? When's the third book coming out? When's the third book coming out? I thought that this one was going to end on a massive cliffhanger, but by the time I was done with it, I was like, okay, I can walk away from the series for a while and come back later. So I was a little disappointed in that too. Who would I recommend this book to? I would recommend it to anyone who has read Name of the Wind. I would recommend it to high fantasy fans. I would recommend it to Harry Potter fans. Except for the first one, I am none of those things. So, this book fell flat for me. This is the part where Jenkins usually comes in and saves me. Says, no, but it's great. But Jenkins is gone for some reason. I don't know where Jenkins went. If you like what I'm doing, go ahead and click the subscription button. If you like this video specifically, go ahead and click the like button. And go ahead and leave a comment letting me know what you thought of this book. Because I know there's a massive fan base out for this. And I am just not a part of it like I thought I would be. I've been Elliot the Purple. Hold on. Oh. Hey. You're not Jenkins. That's not another book for me, is it? Oh, no. Oh, what is this? No. No. Why? Oh, I guess I'm doing this now. I've been Ellie the Purple Hair Doofus. This has been Buddy Reads, reminding you to watch that Cam Radius. And I'll see you all at the beginning of Sleeping Beauties by Stephen King and Owen King. Toodles!